How to document your projects for the PMP application. Firstly, the application process is different for every person depending on their education level. So before writing our applications, we need to know the amount of experience needed to be expressed, as you can see in this table. The caveat to this chart is a specific type of degree identified with the GAC, or the Global Accreditation Center for Project Management. These are not inherently graduate degrees, but PMI verified education that would count towards your experience. When detailing our experience, the project work needs to be in a professional setting. It's been clarified that the experience can be both volunteered or compensated labor. On the same note, professional work means that it cannot be a personal planning event for your specific benefit. One example is if you did a home construction project for yourself or your family. That would not be accepted by the PMI. Additionally, projects are to be separated, not combined into a single report. For example, suppose the goal of the project was to create a software solution for one organization and upgrade the hardware solution for another organization. In that case, we will describe each experience by itself, as they are both unique events for different stakeholders. This is where our instructor team would do one-on-one counseling with students, because depending on the nature of the wording that we hear, it could sound like multiple projects are being referenced in a single experience. For each individual project, we will describe that experience by itself, and any other project will be its own written experience. Finally, projects are not routine, operational, or administrative tasks in nature. For example, if you are a construction leader and build houses, most of those projects may look similar, but each home is different in that the time, location, and specific requirements are all different. However, routine and operational workings are efforts used to maintain an already existing structure. Let's say you needed to plan, build, and establish a dining facility to feed your members. That is a unique project. But feeding the members and cleaning the facility would be operational tasks. Also, though you will do administrative work during the project is not an administrative effort. The objective of the project is not to manage a team. The objective is to create something through a temporary effort. So in defining our experience, we need to be intentional about using the definition of a project as defined by the PMI. Projects are temporary endeavors to create a unique product, service, or result. This temporary effort will be known as the overall objective of the project and will be used as a starting point for our writing. Conducting a ceremony, designing an application, and constructing a facility are all examples of events with a dedicated start and end date. When we give our projects a title, it should relate to the project objective, not the multiple roles and responsibilities of the PM. Now that we have a project objective with a title and beginning and end dates, we can then ask ourselves what were our broad responsibilities and what did we specifically deliver. When creating our responsibilities, we want them to be broad statements that encompass multiple actions. This is where we define our high-level duties. For our key deliverables, we are specifically identifying nouns that we provided. This allows us to show the PMI that our efforts created something unique for that time. Following that, we give the backstory as to how we conducted ourselves on the project. This is where the PM-PECO can aid our writing. Write down 3 to 5 statements about what you did while working with stakeholders, managing the project, and navigating your organization's environment. Once you have them written down, we can compare them to the 3 domains of the PM-PECO: people, process, and business environment, using them to help us rewrite our statements. Finally, we close our experience by summarizing the results of the project and aligning it to the objective. If our goal was to create a facility, a successful project would state that we created one. Additionally, it's worth noting that undetermined projects can be recognized as being in progress. Repeat this process and add up your non-overlapping time of project management experience. And once you've met your time requirement with experience no later than 8 years old, you will be ready to submit your narrative paragraph write-up to the PMI.